Hello folks, wherever you are, welcome back. It's underscore Ginto, back again to this kind of the point and the portfolio of today. I was going to be commencing this kind of the video at this kind of the way and understanding what's really going to be popping out at this kind of the time. Much of the people are wondering, why Ginto are you this kind of the side? And why are you alongside the river? Because I'm alongside one of the river here. We have the breaking news that is already coming out from the sanitation and also coming from the government, talking about things going to be getting a change. Right now it's going to be an emergency evacuation and also emergency fulfillment. Talk about Marwa wall. It's going to be demolished from alongside the wall. Talk about alongside the river bank. They're talking about is just obligating the justice and talking about they are causing much of the the trouble alongside each and every kind of the matters. Talking about they should leave 30 meters from the river bank, which is called Liberian land, which is not emphasized or it's not exercised at this kind of the point. What are we talking about at this kind of the matter? Let me give you a little bit of a story here. When the construction of the wall was undergoing, talk about a small hint and a small synopsis about it. One of the people who were here, talk about Marwa was there, talk about so many people there, including Mayugno. They were constructing this wall under the management of the engineer called Marwa engineer. And what is really coming up and popping right now, because how things were being sold at that kind of the time, they were being saying that, hey, please don't build very near to the river, including they were targeting something called a clay bath. And that clay bath, it was brought with an idea of Marwa, so as they can just make money and also talk about going to be sanitizing much of the ladies there and biurating them and titillating them the way it's necessary. Talking about going to be talking about marinating their backs and talk about that is how the thing's going to be done. And it was one of the biggest contents that were created here, talking about the we can call it the clay bath at that kind of the position of the event of the party during Marwa party of 2023. So at this kind of the time, what we are talking about is the wall. It's just built very close to the river, which is becoming talk about into the government and the territories that governs much of the assets that are surrounding the government. Talk about the rivers, talk about the hills, talk about mountains, talk about forests, which are public forests or the government forests. You understand, you are not allowed. Talk about even roads. You are not allowed to be very close to the road or very close to the river, because the river doesn't belong to anyone. And what do I mean at this kind of the point? Much of the things, talk about Mogesi started talking about it, talked about how the river gonna be spoiled and how the river was being misused, and also much of the spills were just directed to the river at that kind of the time, and the channel of Mogesi went kaboom. And because they wanted to hide the evidence how it was, but much of the things had been spoken, much of the people have the idea on how it should be. So at this kind of the point, still we have this kind of the breaking news that are going to be coming, the new thing created with the Kenya, talk about the Kenyan government, talking about if you are very near to any kind of the resource or an asset of the government, like the river banks, you should squeeze yourself very far away from the river so as other people can access. What do I mean? At the front part there, we have talk about Marwa bought another land, talking about it has much of the trees, and they're just grazing there much of the animals. And what do I mean at that kind of the pathway? So right now, if you try to pass through this kind of area, they're talking about you are trespassing, whereby you are passing very besides the river, which is allowed area. You can pass the way you need, because the river is whenever you have a river, it's like a road. You can access the river and you can just make much of the things. Talk about animals should just drink much of the water, much of the home. Talk about home consumption also. It's they're just using this kind of the river to make much of the things. But if you are found here, talk about if the conduct finds you passing through here, like Ginto, you'll talk about you are trespassing in a way that I cannot be directed or cannot be given that kind of the time to pass through here, because it's just a public land, and much of the people talk about this land belongs to me, even the river. There's a time one of the MPs in Kenya said that if you want a river, just make sure that you can or you want to build very near to the river, like the way you talked about, you are very, very close to the river, make sure that you have that opportunity to take that river far away from your side, so you can just build very close to the river. And if you have that opportunity, or you have that kind of an urge of building very far away from the river, and you can just use a man-made river and make sure that it is not passing through where you are, so as you can be given that a Liberian land should be so bigger enough for you not to take the way that you talk about. Like right now, nobody can come and graze at this kind of the point. Nobody. Because of what? You will be told you are trespassing these lands, or this land belongs to Marwa. Or talk about the conduct we talk about, this kind of the land, it's not made for anybody, it's made for Marwa. And because they have bought the upper side or the other side, they'll talk about this land belongs to them, and nobody is allowed to access this area. So the government right now, it has brought a policy talking about it's now evacuating much of the people to move far away from the rivers, and also move far away from any kind of the public asset that belongs to the government of Kenya. So that is what we're going to be talking about. I was talking about the story when this kind of the wall was being built at that kind of the time. I am Marwa engineer himself was there, and sometimes we talk about they were overpowered, because you cannot talk anything, and it was absolutely could not be taken at a granted at a way that you can just be done the work up to it. What I mean there, it means that they were being terrorized, that they cannot make their own decisions. If Marwa has not, if he comes and talks about I want this wall to be looking this way, to look this way, that is how it will look. But they were being used in a way that you are an engineer, but to an extent, you are like a worker. To an extent, you are like a person who is now coming to beg for such kind of a work. So they were not given their own mandate to exercise, because once that kind of the period of time, they said that this kind of the wall should be built far away from the river. But when Amaru had that way that are talking about this wall should move, he said that he has bought the land until the river. And you can just understand that that is the mind that is being used in a way that much of the people should be scared, because of somebody has bought a land which is attached to the riverbank and is talking about even that side. You cannot imagine that somebody can talk about if this is the wall of Ayamaro here, he will talk about this side belong to him. What do I mean there? They say that you have bought even the river where your plot is cutting. So you'll not need anybody to pass through that kind of the side, because that river, it's yours. That is what is becoming a failure, and much of the people should understand it very properly. And to the real cause of the time, this kind of the matters has been slogarized, and talk about even there's nobody is building with much of the survey. Talk about whenever you talk about you want to build even a house, you have to talk about the survey, talk about the title deed, talk about whatever. So at long last, you will find that much of the things are not handled properly in a way that you can talk about, you can use some handouts, you can use some a little bit of cash and talk about I want to do this kind of the things. But eventually it will come to have its own affinity war. Talk about right now the government is going to be talking about who exercise it. So already the Marwa engineer is thrown into the program. Already is thrown in a way that he was the one who was directing it to be built. Talk about how many times it has fallen down. Talk about how many, whenever it rains and we have floods, do you know that the wall always collapses? How much times this kind of, we can call it clayback, how much times it has fallen down, how much times it has been rectified? Like 5 times. Talk about the whole wall until the far end. It has gone down and it's just coming down. This kind of the far point to talk about, let us not exercise and talk about much of the things belong to individual, and which is creating much of the chaotics and creating much of the tension between each and every kind of the individual who is belonging to such kind of a position. And to this Esquire, I can talk about that is what is bringing now the chaos between wrangles between one party to another party. Talking about why can't you do this kind of the thing necessary the way it is? They take everything is as granted. That okay, because I have money, I can access this to this certain point. Because I have this, I can ascertain. It's not only Amaru who is persisting unto it. There are so many, including Mayukuno is making it. He has a plot which whereby right now he has been thrown away with Dimango, because Dimango asked for that kind of the plot very near to the riverbank. And Mayugono say that he's gonna be using it, that kind of the talk about the land, for as he can just do much of the things. So right now they forced much of the wrangles. Talk about why are everybody talking about I want to reach at the riverbank. Yes, one thing why the river is so important. One, you are nearness to the water source, and when you understand the water, this kind of the water was the one that built the whole of the Villa Medellin, and that is why they honor it. They understand the cost of water, it's limited, and also that's why you see Dimango is pumping water from Ernesto's fish pond, which is far away 200 meters to 300 meters to his position, to her position, which is causing a lot of tension and also causing much of the labor and also using much of the money to buy much of the fuels. So when you are very near to the river, you can have more access to this kind of the services of using water. And also this kind of the water is life also. We understand much of the animals will just be drinking this kind of the water. But how would you want to pollute the water that you understand it's serving much of the environment? From one section to another section, from one portfolio to another portfolio. That is what we mean about how we're going to be consistent. So the breaking news of today is that the government is going to be coming and making sure that it's squeezing much of the things. So I don't know if Amaro is just notified that things going to be getting, because it's the much tension and much of the people are having much of the way. Because when I saw much of the way whenever I went to the police post there, you understand when Chris the Great was saying that there are so many files that are filed at the police station concerning Amaro. So there are much of the things that have been filed there. Much of the people think about it is us who are just filing it. I'm very sorry for that one. We are talk about we are breaking newsing, or talk about we are news anchoring at this kind of the time. So as much of the people understand how the strategy is, what's really happening behind the scene, and what is happening at the grass level of where we are. And that is the village report. Keep it tuned, keep it locked, because things will be getting more crooked and worse at this kind of the position. But we have to go and make it happen. And why are we going to be making it happen? We have to absolutely think about it. And this is the beginning. Guys, right now, the village is very quiet. And from my assessment in every kind of the position, because I've passed through every kind of the section concerning from every kind of the pots, and I've excavated my own intelligence, talking about right now the village is so silent. There's no much of A, B, C, D, nothing. So we are coming to a conclusion that why is it that these two people, Marwa and Dimwangu, whenever they're here, they're the ones who are causing much of the mayhems and much of too much noise in the village. Because right now there's no much of A, B, C, D. Everywhere is cool. So you can now start sensing what's really meant by this kind of the people. How are they behaving? What is the absolute manner, and why are they behaving normally in a way that they're the ones who are causing the problems? Right now, imagine you cannot understand if it's the same village or it's the one that it was having the mayhem. Much of the people, A, B, C, D, from this side to the other side, it's something which is a little bit, I'm getting to be frightened. Because the Mango site is closed. They're just pumping much of the water. You can hear the generator from there to her own, the D site, and they're just watering the slab that was just poured there last time, 2 days ago. And to the villa, there are preparations, and they are ready to receive Marwa with Rocio. So the village is so silent. And that is the point we go back and understand. Now the people have been used to cause the mayhem and to cause much of the trouble. From A zone to B zone. Talk about Murimi. Where is he right now? They never took Murimi with them. That is the point that we have to use the brain. That you are being used in the ground, but they will never support you to go far away with them because they were using you at the ground. People don't use the brain at that capacity. They think about when they see them, they see their demigods. They see that everything is perpendicular to how they needed it to be. What do I mean? Right now, imagine from all the context, how it was coming, all the portfolio, how it was. I met with Murimi yesterday. He was telling me that I buy him a soap. I was asking myself, you are already bankrupt. You are already naked with no money. What happened? It seems that when they are here, they are luring this kind of the young boys with handouts to cause problems and give them something and liquor them. Imagine yesterday and today I've met with them, talk about Murimi. He has not drunk. He is now very accurate. You can imagine what is causing the problem. Now you can entail and you can understand. The village right now, nobody is talking. Nobody has any kind of anything. Even today, the congrats dad is in David Jr.'s construction. And you can imagine, start sensing about it. When I talk about this kind of the two people, David Jr. is a very, very liar. Number one. Number two, David Jr. is a fearful person ever in this world. He can never do anything if he doesn't see a police officer. He cannot do anything if he doesn't see his father. What do I say? When there were wrangles and it was, talk about, it was one-on-one. Do you know that he talked about, let me go and call my father. Where is my father? Let me get my phone. Let me call my father. It means that they are acting and removing their own awkwardness in front of people if they see their supportive value is there. It's like whenever they see that person is there, they see that they have been added advantage or added value. You know, when I say added value, I mean that if you have fish, you sell it raw, which is from the water direct as it's fresh. And you personally take the same fish, scrub it and scale it, bisect, remove the intestines, dry it and fry it, sell it. You have added it advantage. It will not be sold as the other one, which is raw. At that point, you can get the point I'm talking about. They have to be added value so as they can trend, including the way that they have to depend on the father, depend on the police, so as they can act. At that context, I came to this point. They behave normally. Much of the YouTubers, they behave normally when they know that their psyche, their advantageous psyche is there. And in a way whereby David Jr. has nothing to do to the society. And I'm asking myself, have you ever seen Marwa in David Jr.'s construction? The breaking news. Why? Still on themselves, they have beefs. Let me ask. There's a time, let me tell you a story here. There's a time, I've been saying about this kind of the story, and much of the people have never got me. That even the same point we are talking about, Marwa is coming back with Rocio, and they're having the Mwango at their own presence, and she is handling the same problems that were being handled here. For Rocio to get out from here, it was the courtesy of the two, the conmam and the demon herself. And went to this extent already, they're back at the same point, talking about, hello, Rocio, baby, can we go back home? It's something which is so weird. And much of the people have to get it critically. That they're trying, because Marwa cannot act right now. He is obsessed. He cannot get the donations if Rocio is not around. Dimwango, she understands right now because she acted. There's a time Dimwango acted like a fool, and including Marwa himself. He told me, we were coming from Kisumu, me, Marwa, Rosio, and David Nyuna was walking with the other vehicle, which it has already been sold, for the construction of the D Villa to go on, which is the CU, which is the BMW, because she was arrested in Mombasa, which is Dimwango was arrested in Mombasa, and she was not having a driving license, you can imagine, and the vehicle was put in, and it was between two things: select for you to go look for money, come pay for it as a fine, because it went up to the court. And at that extent, they were told, when you get money, go pay for it and take it from the station. So the demon, she doesn't have anything because she will be arrested too. And she was told, it's both one to remain, one to go. And she called back to Marwa asking for the help, which was the 5th times he asked for the help from Marwa. Let me say it. When Marwa called Dimwango, she was in UK during that time. We were in Kisumu. She never received the call. During the same day, it was a Marwa pump had been stolen from his own compound. And it was messy, krakatooing. Everybody was being thrown into pogroms, running from east, west, and south, including the Congrats that took much of the people, the soldiers who were very at the gate, and dropped them to the police station for answering. And they stayed there for a week for the cases to be handled. And at the same time, they got a thief and no compensation was done. To that extent, when Marwa called and the call was not received, he started saying it because he's a person who is hot-tempered and he can say anything. He needs to talk in a way that she's not receiving my call and she will need me. She will need me. Whenever she went to Jamaica, the day she landed in Jamaica, she filmed the accident. And she was caught with the municipality people, the police officers who are taking guard in terms of the road safety and talk about controlling the traffic and sometimes understanding much of the U-turns and whatever. They are called municipality here in Kenya. They grabbed her and she had to call Marwa back then. And Marwa had to call much of the fans who are in Jamaica so they can just entail and understand which police station she is. And she was rescued from there. And at that point, Marwa himself was saying it. Next time she was in the UK, she got a trouble in the UK. She had to call Marwa, and Marwa had to call a fan from the UK to go and rescue her. The third time she was in the US, she got in trouble. Again, she had to call Marwa back home. And Marwa had to call a fan who is Mutua 3. And they went and rescued the guy from this kind of the hashish and the contemplement of themselves. At that extent, I'm coming to the point. When she was arrested in Mombasa with no driving license, she got in trouble and she was saying that, oh, you know, my whatever, is the stomach booming? Oh, you know, I have a boyfriend who's a Muzungu who is interested with that boyfriend. And the car was put inside and she had to do the auctions for her to continue with the D Villa. I know. Guys, we're being cheated outside here. That this kind of the people, you know, much of the YouTubers, they don't understand until you start traveling, you understand. This kind of the people, they know that how harsh is it to live in other country apart from your country. They know how the condition is. So when they are acting in perpendicular, they know what they're doing. And when they engage in drama in the village where they are, they understand the strategy. It's money, monetization. So at this point right now, when David Jr. was having that a BMW that the mother, the congrats mom, had been given as a surprise, but nothing was being handled to her because David Jr. was running with it, with seducing and flirting with so many ladies, including the village ladies here. East, west, south. Even one is just at Sirari border there. You understand, Lady J is something else. You understand whenever we talk about two in one. Eh? So at a fact, what is happening at the ground is whereby there is a bigger grudge that even up to date, Amaro himself is saying that he came and he was not having money even to pay the people, the top masons and the handmans who were at the villa during that particular point. Hello. Aya, Mosokiri. Hi. So at that point, Marwa borrowed money from David Jr. You understand the story. And at large, David Jr. turned and talked about, give me my money because of the plot. It was meant to be for David Jr. to be separated. Do you understand the story? Because the Congress had to intervene for that plot. Because the land was to be separated in two. And the villa had to be separated in two between David Jr. and Ayamaro. People don't know that kind of the story, how it is. So to an extent, it finally landed in a way where there was a chaos and there was a misunderstanding between the two brothers. So up to date, Amaro cannot go to David Jr.'s position because they are not hand in hand. It's just this kind of the postcoms here. What about even Ayamaro can just chase the wife? Ayamaro can chase ABCD. Who is the person who is working here? And I'm telling them. Because the life is a bit different. You can understand how the propagation is. You can understand how everything is running behind the level. Because when I was walking all around, everywhere is clear. Nobody is running to the villa. Nobody is running to the Mwango site. Nobody is running east, west, and south. The roads are very clear. To mean that what are they surviving at this point? What are they doing? Because right now you cannot film at the villa. What are they surviving at this point? They don't understand. When we talk about this kind of the people should be taught a lesson. And when he comes back, they think about they have found the demigod. And at that extent, they can even come out proudly and talk about this road is for Marwa. This stuff is for this. Including what even you can just go to school and understand and learn and understand this kind of stuff, it's meant for ABCD. But why are we coming to a conclusion? Right now, everybody who was being used is now levelized. Talk about they are just left at the village stage to encrypt themselves and they will understand it. Nobody, even if wherever you are not allowed to go to the villa. You are not allowed to go to the D site. So many people have been fired. So what about you are now fired? Asked about this kind of the question. I found the Congress dad. And I greeted him. Hey, Tata. Tata is like a greeting here. He never replied, but he was so suspicious about, he wanted to listen to what I'm speaking. Which is the best, better, and a good way of making things to happen. This is the road to Ernesto's fish pond. I show you how they're just fetching water. And they have not gone in terms of talking about, hey, Ernesto, can I use your fish pond to get much of water? But to an extent, that's how it is. You have to understand humanity. You can see the road. It's a very, very big road, and the sugar cane's there. That's where the house is. So let me show you. This is the fish pond here, and this is the fish pond that Marwa was talking about. It's a dirty fish pond, but now it's helping them. The dirtiness it is, it's the one that is helping them to pump water. Yes, there's not much of fish. Remember, Marwa told me that Gintu, you're opening water and letting water to go out with some fingerlings. He never knew what is a fingerling. He was talking about he let the baby fish to come out. That was the ignorance of mind and the ignorance of education at that point, whereby a genuine person to talk about the children of fish, you can see the knowledge and you can see how the thinking capacity of that person is. Talk about Gintu was opening water and letting the schools of talk about the school of small fish, or the school of the fish to go out, maybe the fries, the fingerlings to go out. And at that extent, right, this kind of it's now natural. It's going to be having, talk about unnecessary or unwanted fish that's going to be here rehabilitatively, because you can never harvest everything out. But now their surviving values of them is still here. So if to that kind of the point, you can get my point that this fish pond is now used in terms of pumping water, not Gintu's fish pond. I have to rectify it, because let the positive be positive. Let everything be thought about how it is, because this is the road. Again, another point. I saw Marwa family and David Jr. mostly with the Congrats dad taking a responsibility in Matiko's home, and I saw them putting people in a sarcasm way. Which kind of a sarcasm am I talking about here? They started arresting people because of liquor. That this home is producing liquor. This home is producing liquor. And they go and incite the police, handouts. Police comes as far as they are instructed with handout. They come and take the whole people who are there, either taking liquor. Guys, to the real way of an African, everybody has his own survival value, including Marwa, including Devi, including Demwango. They have the survival values. How they survived to be the who they are. Their mother and the father, they know how they survived. Talk about if it's Shamba. They were ever in Shamba for 24 hours. We talk about it because they are talking about my father, who is the Congrats that was not tired in Shamba. We could just get out from Shamba and leave him. That is what is expected, and people talk about it. When you go to the Shamba, you cannot get out. You will be the first person to go out, even if you work for how many hours. And he never wanted a person who is very easy and cheap in terms of Shamba. So they have that legacy. And that Shamba, the Congrats that knew that one day it will give them something that the Almighty has selected, that this is the something that will give you something at the end of the glory. But now they are demising the others, like giving them a headache, getting to the police station, getting them arrested because of liquor. There are people like Gintu. We started going to school while our parents were selling liquor and producing liquor. That was the only alternative because of the economic fluctuations of the prices, economic bulkiness of the survival value. There are people in this kind of the village, their mothers have been struggling, producing liquor. And it is a trend that was there. It's right now people have been enlightened. They're now coming up to understanding that we have to change. But that was the starting point of a person. And if you see a person has been ever producing liquor, for them, for the survival value, that family goes up, including Marwa family. they ever did the liquor. What am I saying so? Right now, if you see keenly Dimwango's video, David Junior's video, they have something that the sugarcane was cut, and they have so big sufurias. Why are you not asking what those sufurias are for? Those sufurias, they are there for something called molasses. That molasses, it can be used as a sugar, which is brown sugar production, that is used in the process of formulating liquor. So between a person who is producing the sugar to produce liquor and a person who is producing liquor, who depends on the same production rate, who is producing liquor, because you cannot make liquor without that sugar, brown sugar. So between a Marwa family and the other people who are producing liquor, who is liquoring other people? They don't understand. Right now at Dimwango's space, there is those kind of the big sufurias that are there for making brown sugar and sell to the people who are making liquor. That is a fact. In the production rate of animal production in this village, we have a low tonnage in agriculture in terms of animal husbandry and animology. What do I say? Much of the people will not get this kind of the point. If you want to produce sugarcane, if the sugar production that is here that the conduct has refused to give out money to pay the bills and to pay the monthly installment or the money that we accepted that he has to bring at the end, he never brought it. That kind of the sugar is gonna be getting the brown sugar. And the market of the brown sugar, it's to the people who are producing liquor. And why are they going to the street and getting people? And even right now at the Dimwango space, but they can never talk about it. What are those big sufurias for? For brown sugar. People cannot ask about what is the brown sugar for. They are here talking about people are stupid, producing something that will go to produce and process the liquor that Matiko are going to consume, Murimi are going to consume, and use them as an asset to go and act as shields for them. Whenever they're going to be hit, like today, Murimi has been hit like a Cherokee drum. He was the one to be hit because the one was provoked because of protecting the other lady called Dimwango. We have to use sense as human beings. We have to use sense as boys who are just growing. The young generation, if we don't use sense, we will be manipulated. And we will come to our senses when the time is vanished. And nobody will ever come to rescue us in this kind of the life, ever in this kind of the history. To the 30th point. We have much of the messes. Not the ladies' messes, no. The messes that has been performed magically east, west, and south. There are people who have been lured into sarcasm. There are people who have been thrown into pogroms, imbroglio, thrombiosis ways of the circulation. And some of the people have been berated and tightletted their minds in a way that they are fixed mind. To that point, I can say that we are becoming fools. Why are we becoming fools? We have to act. We have to wake up and act. And act. But the fearful human being, whenever we say that this person has money, you see them as demigods. You can even bow down and say that, yeah, you are the one. I saw how the impact was yesterday. When I went there, Mayuguno was acting like he knows more better about me. Even he was talking about Marwa. Do you know that I am the one who oriented Gintu into YouTube? When I go back to my own stretch points of understanding, there's a day I went to Mayuguno. He was at his farm that he had bought very recent farm. And the same person he bought that land from, he was there. Called Bushman Dude. During that time, he was using another name before capturing Vas Gabi. And when he was plucking the pigweed, I reached and I asked me that, hey, Fishman, how are you? I asked about, give me a shout out. No, I don't give shout outs in weekdays. I give shout outs in the weekends. So yesterday, as he was popping out much of the words talking about, he ever told me that I'll have to do. Mayuguno was very, very expensive to achieve to get Mayuguno. My friend, I'm telling you, even right now, you can see Mayuguno at any time doing a video with anybody. There's a time people were begging with cement. People were lining themselves with cooking oil to Mayuguno's home during the party. Who is Mayuguno? The head had become like a tail. Now it was overheaded. So that is the structure of a human being. Right now, Mayuguno is brought down. Since the time he ever came to attack us in the village and talk about that, the villa, talking about we are the people who are making Marwa to go down. If you are down, you are down. How can you have more than 550,000 subscribers and get 20,000, 30,000 views? Something not reckless, something not understood about that extent. It's something that we can think, rethink, and think again. And I know is having much of the good support, in which by, look at this kind of the point. Where is Gake? When the party shined, Gake was invited, including Gintu was invited, but I never stepped there. Gake went and shoot because people had promised. I told Gake, my friend, these people are there to tell you that be positive, but they never help you with anything. Because those kind of the people, they want to see you in Marwa's cycle only, in a way that they have just already oriented you that you have to do. When Marwa sees that you are just getting out and getting a little bit of a knowledge, you are becoming inhuman to him. And he will just chase you in a way that he knows that you're going to be having another extended benefit that you're going to be having, that he has never been. Marwa told me that you have to do the necessary, that we can organize a talk. And I asked him, this was the question. Are you going to apologize for what you did to us? He said that apologize for what? When you are eating us legs from the footpath, do you think that you wanted us to grow or die completely? He never answered that question. And I stood firm with it, including Nasto can tell you. Nasto was only laughing because you understand Nasto is sometimes like an insane person, like mentally challenged. He's only laughing because for him to be there is the survival value. He understands. He has to trigger the motivations and the donations to come out. If you can just talk about ABCD, even Nasto is coming and parking a motorbike and touching a jembe, but an extent is one. Both of the BM, everybody is filming a video. Guys, that is the point that I never took it as a granted. And that's what they hated me for, up to date. That when we are shooting a video, before they completed the work, Gintu's video is out already. So when they're going to be uploading, I am not interested with such kind of the things going to be getting. So that's how fast I was, one-on-one. We finish it. Because talking about, yeah, man, yeah, we are doing the road. The road is complete. Post the video. Again, talking about, yeah, this kind of the video, you should not post it. That was a Mickey Mouse to Gintu. I could not do that one. Because that is now controlling channels, including Nasto. Even right today, Nasto was there when the Mercedes-Benz was coming in as I was there. But he could not post the Mercedes-Benz because he was told, if you post, I don't want to see you again. Stupid minds. They are controlled like gadgets, controlled like psychopaths, controlled like molasses, in a way that they cannot even rethink how to think that they are going to be doing something different. They're just there bowing and doing much of the crazy things. I'm not interested with that one. And not everybody that Gint will ever be like Marwa. That is the point that they ever took and ever told me. Marwa himself told me that Gint, do you know that you will never be like me? Whatever you do, what I have just done, and he was telling that, do you know, Ginto, I have a platform. I've gone to this kind of the platform for more than 10 years. I can tell you A, B, C, D. Yes, you have collected a lot of donors, and you have collected a lot of people, and people trusted you when you were crying in Colombia. People started helping you because they had that kind of a cry. And people had that kind of a benefit of talking about like Mr. Cecil, like Uncle Jamaica. They know that when they come here, they are free to move, because whenever you say that I am here hosted with Marwa, police can never do anything, or the police cannot even ask you who you are. So you can just be using the small ladies, going for whatever you want at kind of the rate. Because they know that their king is behind such kind of the things. And always complaining. Look at the guy called Manyala. Talk about Hello Baby. Where is Hello Baby right now? He's thrown into pogroms. Marwa went to the D site, and I found the boy who was there. Talk about Hello Baby. And you had been promised, young boys being promised that you just come and I will just do a video with you. And that is a promise that you can hear even you cannot sleep. So Ngurai, this kind of the Hello Baby, went and just slept with the shoes onto the bed and talked about, tomorrow I have a very good bombshell with talk about Dimwango. But an accent, when Hello Baby reached at the site of Dimwango, then Marwa came that the same day they came from Nairobi and talked about hey, Diana, which is Dimwango, I don't trust this boy. I don't want to see him here. I don't want to see him in my life, even at the villa, until we meet in heaven. Such kind of a person is saying, and is talking about, yeah, I need much of the people to be empowered. I need much of the people to grow. Grow while you are having a very crazy mind, a stupid mind, irresolute mind. So if there's going to be a change at that one, we can say that you're going to be having a little bit of a change. Yes, I know you behave normally. You're not like the rest. Yes, I know, but there's a problem beneath the cycle. There's a problem that they have to cover up and make it happen. It's very simple. It's just a kicker of Ginto, and that's kind of an accent. Whoever can get it, get it. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let's move forward and make it happen. And this is the movement of Ginto's kicker of the day. And talking about when and how long will we survive in the street of man-eat-man society. When development calls, energy prevails. This is the end. Let's make it happen. Keep it tuned. Hello, Internet.